Hello there, this is Marcio, and this is yet another episode of Culture Coding with Agents. Now, a series of reflections about these days, what's changing, are we losing the developers, engineers as we knew it in terms of the IT industry? I don't think so. We're just probably creating a new class of workers, perhaps. All right. So the case that I have today, so these reflections they come out of the normal working routine here, and I have a situation here that I want to show you. Okay, you see this screen? It's basically a system that I'm using to that I can look up different elements of the site building system that I have. Okay. Now, one thing is very important to say. This is not necessarily a CMS management interface, part of the system as designed, okay? This is an intermediary tool that I decided to create. And most of the functions that you see on the right hand side, the buttons there, these functions were available as endpoints, web services, things that I could use from the command line. But now out of the sudden they have interfaces. And I was really skeptical to do this because it wouldn't make any sense, right? I don't need the interfaces for this. They're um, not meant for a user in terms of the business and use cases. But now, because of the agents, I was like, oh, who cares? Give me the interfaces, the visual interfaces. And then the day that I did that, I was like, wow. So it gives me an opportunity to visualize things from above. Say, my system for building icons, I can ask the system to build the icons and I can see all the icons from above. Sometimes I see new things. So here's something for us to think about, right? There are excesses here, yes, indeed, but there are also their opportunities, maybe. Okay. Now, today's session is mainly because you come up with the interface and you ask the agent to do something, and I'm like, oh, maybe I was actually quite impressed by the user interface. But then I was like, we can probably improve a little bit. So right now, this session, I want to improve this a little bit, okay? And by the way, when we improve the interfaces about these tools, I think I'm discovering, about UX, user experience. We're giving yourself a chance to see how we can, when you tap here, you open which panel for why, right? It's iterating with the tool to understand the correct user interface. All right. Okay, with that said, okay, I am here. This is the interface where I am about to ask for a change, right? So we can change this. So let us do it. And the way that I'm going to do today, I'm going to try to record using audio, okay? Hello there, my friend. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this interface that we have in this system. I see on the right hand side buttons there, inline, one for each of the module services. If I'm not mistaken, that's how I name it, those. Now, today's session, in today's session, I wanted us to do some organization to do actual design regarding the left side first. It may also have to do with the sidebar there. You see, one thing I noticed, by the way, I really enjoyed the titles because they're consistent, same sizes across like bot services and build icons and controls and icons. I see. Now, you see, on the right hand side, the sidebar is really nice, right? It's just the padding and the bottoms there. But then on the left hand side, you see that I like the padding, but there is a border there, very soft border, by the way. There is a border there, and the border is connected with then with the border of the controls panel, also somehow connected with the border of the icons panel, and that seems to be a little bit cluttered there. Okay, that's the first statement for us to pay attention here in terms of design. Now, between us here, because I was recording, okay, and I am pasting that recording right there in the field, but I'm not sending it yet. Okay, now let's record a new one. All right, now, so if that's not asking for too much here in terms of the resources, let us then remove that border. So I think naturally the padding that comes out from there, it's going to be, you know, there. And another one other thing I wanted here for us. I was thinking, what about we move that panel, the sidebar panel that we have on the right hand side, the right hand side sidebar panel. What about we move that panel to there, you know, on the left hand side? And then you see that we are currently inserting the controls within the actual, stretch panel that we have. What about because this controls panel is part of the, like a sub panel of the actual bot services context module that I'm using in a given context in a given moment. So I'm not saying we should put this panel underneath the bottom. I think if we put the bot services on the left hand side, we could put a secondary sidebar from the tops down way of thinking, like a sidebar is there. You put another sidebar next to it, not under it. And then, of course, the stretch panel goes as a third panel on the right side. What do you think about that? If you like, if you don't think it's burning too many resources, go ahead and do it. All right. Okay. Now between us, I'm using the chat GPT on the other panel. Okay, by the way. Now we are capturing that, right? And by the way, today I'm not reviewing because I'm not English native English speaker, right? And I'm gonna trust. But I have seen, I tell you that I have seen crazy things coming out because one word, one little word came out, not what I wanted, but what ChatGPT heard, and it changed everything. All right, so go ahead, go. Right now, what should we do here? You please wait because I am going to get a coffee for me. Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. All right. Where we are here? Where are we here? Where are we going? We don't need roads. I heard that phrase. Back in the days, back in the days. Very nice coffee, by the way. If you are there, developer, builder, if you're traveling around Brazil and are willing to remote work from here, you may try to get in touch because the coffee is reasonable. All right. Lots of things going on there, of course. Proposing because I gave the narrative today, right? One thing, by the way, very interesting, right? Because the point of this thing is like culture coding with ages is the reflections, right? Not you don't want to see what I'm doing, right? You want we're considering the reflections. I'm archiving this as well because I want bots and agents to read everything later and give me like an entire uh, material that makes sense for reading, perhaps for reflecting. So I think when in terms of the creating narratives, right? Narratives they carry on principles, and by principles you can design systems. So I think when we are when we are creating narratives, maybe one way to do it's not to send the narrative directly right to the system, or maybe it is. But for now, these days, I came across. By the way, I don't have an episode about that yet, but I came across. I caught myself um, asking the tool to update a README, like a memo, and then from the memo, right, you review the memo, and then you go ahead with that. And so I think that model is offers can compare with an issue system, right? A design issue, like what you call like a Bugzilla in the back in the days, but where yeah, the place where the discussion is happening regarding a change in the system. Because this is the first time that I've seen like on the right hand side something like that, with all those different steps going on there like that, exactly like that. Most of the situations that I have, I think, with a directed, because we know when you're typing, there are cases where you're precise, right? Just saying, like this directory. And by the way, that's something for another episode, right? It's like sometimes I want to point exactly to certain directories, right? And I want to use snapshots of the directories like a canvas. Like you take a picture there, you change the directories, you take another picture, change again, take another picture, and then you start using pictures, right? States of images, like storyboard. That's something for an episode there, right? If we could create a tool that is intermediary tool where we can talk about the directories and the states of the files and etc. By the way, there's something here, mostly a change to the index HTML, mainly 5 lines. No, 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 no. Because this is embarrassing. Right? Oh, this episode's going to be no, it can't be. The tool is probably wrong. It can't be. Can't be Maverick. Where are we? Where are we? Wait, I'm trying to find the yes, the system to reload. I found this, right? Let us just a second. Yes, reload that. I can't be. Right. Okay. Left sidebar is fine. This is embarrassing and enlightening, right? Because wait. This is embarrassing and enlightening because the side, the control panel was already on the left, right? So if this thing figure, why bother create another sidebar? Check it out, right? And why not? So basically, you're there using your cycles. And I'm here using my cycles. And all of that thing, everything in this session came out because of not even 5 lines, right? Because of change flow direction, row reverse to row. There is a gap added there. The meta sidebar, removing the border, removing the shadow. So see every single episode of cultural coding with agents, the series, every single episode here is something for us to learn, don't you think? So this would be like a really this is embarrassing. When I'm trying to make a point here, taking a good reflection out of this, so this video can be useful and I can leave the party, as I used to say, right? Before trouble comes. So, but this way, this was embarrassing. But I think there's a good reflection for us. Thank you very much. I'm closing the session, and I'm happy with the system.